Today's video is for once only about the tune in Tune&Bloom, as I want to talk about something I struggled with when I started with the ukulele and still do when I learn new difficult chords. Yes, today I want to take on the deep dark truth about difficult chord change. Some chords are tricky, and even when you manage to place your fingers on the right strings and frets, the work is not done.
It's not?
A few weeks ago, I decided to learn the song Crip on the ukulele, and this is how it went on day one. Nope. I wanted to film the whole progression, but I started implementing the tips I'm going to talk about now. I started to struggle a lot less. And then turns out I actually didn't practice at all until I started preparing the video. So it's not perfect, but given the amount of time I spent on this, I think it's okay. So here's how I did it. When you start learning chords, and especially learning chord change, the most common tip is to do exercises to build muscle memory. If you repeat a movement often enough, and let's say over and over and over again, at some point you are able to repeat the movement with little to no conscious effort. It's the same principle behind singing and playing at the same time. If you practice the strumming often enough, then at some point you're not thinking about it, and then it frees your attention to the actual singing. So that's what we want. We want to do muscle memory exercises so that you can play the chords in your sleep. No, so that you can place your fingers automatically where they should be quickly. Dude, that's just A minor F. An exercise you can do is place your fingers, place and place, place and place, place and place. So you do that. And what it does is that it trains your fingers to go back to the chord. And it's good that you practice doing it as quick as possible, but you don't want to build muscle memory for this. No, you don't want that. It's a very good exercise for any chord. This is not enough because right now you're just training from a specific hand placement. Like, you're not moving. So of course, it's easy to reach the chord. You have to land on a G, sometimes not from here, but from here. Which means you need to train not only the finger placement for a specific chord, but also to change itself in between all the chords you need. Another tip for you is
use training wheels.
Something I struggled with in the beginning is how to hold the ukulele, because you hold it with the pressure between your thumb behind the ukulele and the fingers playing the chord on the other side. But when you move your fingers to play another chord, then the balance is sort of broken. Pushing different points instead of holding onto one, it can make it hard to change chord, which is why my tip for you now is to use training wheels, meaning use something that will hold the ukulele for you. One thing you could use is a strap, but the ultimate training wheel is your couch. So you don't need to worry about how to hold it, and you can focus on building muscle memory for your fingers. And then when your fingers know where to go, then you can figure out the rest. So I haven't focused too much on the hand placement with Crip, but as I tried to film today how difficult it was with hand placement, I found out that actually it's alright, and it's because of the exercises I implemented. Another tip when it comes to practice chord change is be strategic. I'm gonna give a non-music related example, and it might not speak to many of you, but why even have a YouTube channel if I can't talk about my dog? I mean, she's cute, right? Josette here has separation anxiety, and we've been working on the problem since June, and I can't say it's gone very well. So lately I had to talk to her dog trainer and she told me this. I had to set up a routine that worked as a cue for her to lie down. Like she knows, okay, nothing else is happening right now. That's not what's relevant to us. But what she told me is that you have to implement that routine. You have to do that at the time of day when it's the most convenient for you to leave. Like, don't train at midnight if that's never when you're gonna leave the house. In other words, I'm not training her to be alone whenever, even though that would be great. I'm training her to be alone when it's convenient for me to leave. And you should do the same with the chord change practice. You should practice to change between chords that are convenient for you for a specific song. Like if you're never gonna change from B flat to C, then don't train that. You should practice chord change for a specific tune, fuck the other combinations, and you should be efficient about it. A very common exercise is to practice two chords together. In Crip, it means I would have trained B flat and D together, or D sharp and D sharp minor. But the thing is, I need to go from B sharp to D, but never from D to B sharp. Instead, I decided to train the four chords together in the order I'm going to use them. And I decided to be what I'm calling finger efficient about it. Don't look it up, new concept. When I started learning this chord progression, first I focused on each chord individually. I play B flat and then, oh my god, what's the next chord? And then I would place my finger on the next chord, which is not very efficient, let's be honest. A quicker way to master a chord progression is to figure out which frets or strings your two chords have in common and then move those fingers as little as possible. That was number one. Number two was be preparing for your next move, like have in mind what you have to do next, especially if it's difficult for you. And number three, timing is key, but you can stretch it because you may not need all the fingers exactly like at the same time. You can experiment with strumming and you might hear that, oh, I was a little late here. But on the overall sound picture, it's actually not such a problem. And for finger picking, it's even easier because as long as you're not touching the string, then you can be as late as you want. That's all for today. I hope these tips help. And if you have a song you can try this out with, but you don't have the motivation, you should check out this video. Or this video. I don't know. Bye. Bye. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye now.
See what happens.
That can make me hard. It doesn't make me hard. I don't have a penis.